Hey there, online students. It's Dr. Buer coming to you from my campus office. I was on campus today to meet a friend for lunch, so we walked over to Schlotsky's and enjoyed a sandwich together. It was a good day, and I hope that you're having a good day as well. Welcome to the sixth week of the semester. We're in the thick of things, a lot to cover, and so I hope that this weekly video is helpful to you. I wanted to give you a quick update on my daughter. She had a nice time at homecoming. Nobody asked her to dance. I was a little bit surprised at that because, of course, she's the prettiest girl there. But young men oftentimes are not as bold as they can be or should be in situations like that. So it's probably best because I have a shovel, a gun, and a back 40, and I'm not afraid to use any of them if need be to protect my baby girl. So at any rate, it was fun to watch her enjoy that, and she had a good time. So October is also marching band competition time, so we've got a lot going on. Just about every Saturday, our high school band, of which my older two are a part, are going to be going to various competitions in the area. So it's a lot of fun, and so we're looking forward to that time with our kids. But you didn't sign on in order to hear me wax eloquent about these things, so let's dive into our material for the week. In NT103, we're now finishing our theory, our syntax of the verb, and we're moving into quiz 1, which is due on Wednesday the 30th, and then we're going to move after that into our practice, which will cover basically a lot of the study guides and translation. Let me show you very quickly on quiz 1 what we're going to be looking for. In the quizzes, what we do is focus on things you've already learned in NT101, so we're reviewing elements, but we also are going to cover things that you've covered in this section of the course. So you'll notice that the quiz is going to cover vocabulary that occurs 50 times or more. It's going to cover required luo paradigms. And then what the new material will be the grammar and syntax from Dr. Wallace's text. And notice that we are not going to be comprehensive. You've got 2 or 3 quizzes in this section of the course, and so at later points we will cover additional pages. But for the first quiz, we're only going to cover those pages, so I'd encourage you to review those in advance of the quiz. Now, for the next unit, which starts obviously on Thursday, I do want to point out a couple of things to you. You'll notice that there are basically videos, translations, and study guides that you're going to be doing all along the way. Now note that when a scripture passage is listed by itself, that's a translation. You're required to do the translation and then to submit it at the appropriate location within the assignment. But then you'll also notice that there are various study guides. When a study guide has an asterisk, what that means is there's nothing for you to complete. It is basically simply a guide. It's not a worksheet or an assignment, and you can simply use it to help you translate the passage. So long and short, there's nothing to turn in. You'll notice that study guide number 1 is that way, study guide number 2 is that way, but when you hit study guide number 3, due next week, you'll notice that this is not marked with an asterisk, so this is one that you have to complete. But you'll also notice that this study guide is a group assignment. I do several of the study guides this way, the first 3 within each of the practice modules, in order to give you a chance to do some peer-to-peer learning, a way to kind of keep the guardrails on, keep the training wheels on as you're working through this material. Now, note that I do expect that you'll work together. There's a discussion group posted after each of these. For example, right here you can see study guide number 3 discussion, and I anticipate that you will dialogue back and forth with your fellow students in order to complete this. Then the key thing is make sure that only one person submits. It will then be applied automatically to everyone in the group, and when I do post the grade, it will then be automatically assigned. So just make sure that you coordinate and have just one person submit the material. Now, how you actually complete it is up to you. You could pool your answers. You could designate one person as the scribe, but that doesn't particularly matter to me. But what I do want is that everybody participates in some form or fashion. And you can see that after we get through the first 2 or 3 study guides that you are to complete as a group, then it will transition back to study guides that are individual assignments. So for example, whoops, I'm sorry, that's one that's already been filled out, so that doesn't demonstrate the point. Let me look a little further down. Yeah, for example, study guide number 9 is one that is a individual assignment, not a group one. So I'm giving you an opportunity to work together, but I also want you to plan on working separately. But I'll review this information again as we get a little further along. In Galatians 2:19-20, Paul is very clear about the source of our spiritual life. He says, "I have been crucified with Christ. It is no longer I who live, but Christ who lives in me. And the life I now live in the flesh, I live by faith in the Son of God, who loved me and gave himself for me." It's my prayer that this week you experience that power of Christ in you in a very tangible and full way. As usual, let me know if you have any questions or how I can help, and I'll look forward to seeing you next week. Take care.